All right, today we're going to dive into a really fundamental shift that's happening in the AI world. This is a game changer for anyone building with artificial intelligence, and it's all based on the 2026 AI Governance Vendor Report.
You know, AI is just everywhere, right? It's transforming every industry, creating these incredible opportunities, but it's also bringing a whole new set of complex risks. And that leads to a huge question that every single organization has to answer, like right now. Who's actually in charge of governing your AI?
And that gets us to the report's central, really powerful argument. AI governance isn't some afterthought anymore. It's not a box you just tick for compliance. It is becoming core enterprise infrastructure.
So let's be clear about this evolution, because it's a big deal. Not too long ago, AI governance was something you did at the end, almost as an optional step. Now, it's being treated as absolutely essential, just like your cloud provider or your cybersecurity stack. It's a massive shift in thinking.
So what even is AI governance? Well, here's the tricky part. It's not one single product you can go out and buy. It's not a single team you can hire. It's this complex web of different teams, technologies, and services, and honestly, that complexity can make it incredibly tough to figure out.
So, how do we make sense of all this? Well, luckily, to bring some clarity to this really crowded market, the IAPP has created a simple but powerful framework. They've grouped the entire vendor landscape into 4 key categories, or pillars. Think of this as our map for understanding the whole space.
Okay, let's get into it. Let's break down these 4 pillars. Seriously, understanding these is the key to navigating the entire AI governance landscape.
First up, we've got assurance and auditing. You can think of this as the independent verification layer for all your AI.
So this pillar is all about that independent check. These vendors are like the auditors who come in and make sure your AI systems are actually following your own internal policies, industry standards, and, this is a big one, all the legal requirements. This is how you build trust with your customers and, the regulators.
The key players here specialize in giving you that independent assessment, that third-party stamp of approval that proves your AI governance is solid and that you're operating responsibly.
All right, let's move on to our second pillar and see how this all connects. Consulting and advisory. This one is all about strategy and, actually getting it done. So if auditing is about checking your work after the fact, advisory is about helping you create that work in the first place. These vendors are your strategic guides. They help you build a solid AI governance program from scratch, getting your organization ready for the challenge before it becomes a crisis.
Yeah, a lot of the big players in this category, they're offering more than just tools. They're giving you the strategic roadmap for successful AI governance, making sure your policies and practices are actually effective from day one.
Our third pillar gets into the day-to-day nuts and bolts of it all, policy and compliance.
This category is all about the operational tools that actually bring your governance to life. We're talking about the platforms and services that help you write and manage internal policies, spot and track risks, and just streamline your entire governance workflow.
This pillar is super software-driven. These vendors are the ones offering the dashboards, the workflows, and the automation that turns AI governance from just an idea on paper into something that's a real part of your daily operations.
And that brings us to our fourth and final pillar, which is definitely the most technical of the bunch: technical assessments and evaluations.
Okay, this is really where the rubber meets the road. These tools look directly under the hood of the AI models themselves. They're testing for things like data quality, performance, fairness, and security, making sure the AI isn't just working, but that it's working safely and the way you intended it to.
So this part of the ecosystem is really made up of vendors who are specialists in the deep technical side of AI governance. They give you the tools you need to constantly monitor and validate your AI models in real time, even after they're out in the wild. Now, here's a really important thing to remember. These 4 pillars are a framework, not rigid boxes. The AI governance market is super dynamic, and a lot of vendors offer services that cut across multiple pillars. They're trying to provide more complete solutions.
For instance, you've got major players like BCG, IBM, and Credo AI. They're active in 3 of the 4 categories. They offer this whole suite of services that goes all the way from high-level strategic consulting down to the hands-on technical tools.
And this really just hammers home a key finding from the report. This isn't a static field, not at all. It's growing and changing at an incredible pace, with new companies and new technologies popping up all the time.
So, what's the big takeaway here? Look, you don't need to memorize every single vendor on this chart.
The real goal is to get this four-pillar framework into your head, because once you have it, you've got a mental model to make sense of the market, ask the right questions, and find the right partners for what you actually need.
So we'll leave you with this one last thought. As AI becomes this core piece of enterprise infrastructure, kind of like the foundation of a building, is your organization absolutely sure that your foundation is solid, that it's secure, and that it's built to last?